Cavies, it's Barbie. On this episode of Barbie and the Caveman, we're gonna make something delicious. We are going to make meatballs. They're so good, you're gonna love them. Now, of course, it is the organic, free-range beef, and I have a little bit of some pork that we're gonna mix in, and it's full of vegetables, and it's so comforting and warm, you're gonna love it. All right, stay tuned. So to get started, I am mixing my ground beef with about 1/3 of a cup of spicy sausage. So I'm just kind of mixing it together. Of course, because it gives it a great complexity of flavor that you're just gonna love. We'll set this to the side and we're going to start putting together our vegetables. So I have this little hand mill that I love to use. It's got the blade in the bottom. So I'm going to use just the end of a poblano pepper. Whoop, it's going everywhere. So I'm going to just cut it down the bottom. I'm going to use half of a yellow onion. Here we go. Pull the skin off. Now I'm just going to chunk it to make it a little easier to blend together. There we go. Now I have some jarred jalapenos. I'm going to use about a tablespoon of the jalapenos. This is nice and spicy. It is really a delicious mix. I'm going to add a little bit of ground ginger, about a teaspoon, some salt, again about a teaspoon, some freshly ground pepper, about a tablespoon. Going to grab a stalk of celery. I'm going to use half of it. Cut off that end, which will dry. I'm going to use half the stalk of celery, and again, just cut it into chunks. There we go. And, anything else? Yes, garlic. I'm going to grab my piece of garlic. I'm going to throw in 3 cloves of garlic. And here we go. So we've got all of these wonderful flavors coming together there. I'm going to put the top on my hand mill and just start processing away. So I want to make it till it's really, really fine and nicely minced so it can mix really nicely with the meat. So I have my cast iron skillet out here, and while I work on that, I'm going to put some coconut oil in the bottom of my cast iron skillet and put it up on medium heat so that when I get all of these vegetables nicely minced, I can throw them in there and give them a nice saute and help them soften up a little bit. So I'm going to show you the next step. Hey Katie, so I'm back. I've got all of this nicely minced. So I'm just going to pull the blade out and scoop it out into my waiting cast iron skillet that is nice and hot. So I'm only going to cook it just a couple of minutes just to kind of give everything a chance to soften up. There we go. So here it goes. Let it cook away. Now, so I've got my meat really nicely incorporated. As that kind of cooks for a minute, now I'm going to use a little bit of ground mustard. Now just a tiny little bit, about 1/8 of a teaspoon, because it is a pretty potent flavor, but it does really give it a nice flavor. And then some smoked paprika, and kind of a lot, about a tablespoon. So of course it gives it a nice, wonderful, warm flavor. So I'm going to mix all that in with my ground meat. In the bottom, kind of a little hole in the bottom. And as my vegetables finish sauteing, I'm going to pour them right in that little well. Yes. Now, I have some coconut flour here. So I'm going to use about a tablespoon of coconut flour. Just going to dust it over the meat in the bowl. Woo, that onion, man. All of a sudden it hit me. Okay, so put the coconut flour aside. And I'm going to grab an egg. Ooh, my eyes. Ooh, I'm crying. Oh my goodness. It's been a long time since I've been gotten by an onion that badly. All right. So, 2 eggs. Now, of course, these are free-range eggs. Highest quality I can find. But the shell doesn't go inside. There we go. All right, compost. And going to put my egg down in that little well. Can you see? I'm going to fold it in with the coconut flour. Now, of course, so this gives our meatballs consistency to hold itself together without using rice or without using breadcrumbs or any of those other things that historically have been used for meatloaf or for meatballs. As that continues, I am going to start a head of cauliflower because I really want to serve this with like some mashed potatoes, but obviously I'm not really doing the mashed potato thing these days. So I'm going to use the cauliflower and I'm going to boil it and mash it kind of like I have before, except this time I'm going to put it in the blender and make it really smooth. All right, so get it out of the plastic, pop off all the limbs, and I'm going to get a pot of water started. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. Now I have my pot of water here. I have Cap Gale all going. Going to add, of course, a bunch of salt. Yes. And I have cleaned out my head of cauliflower. Now, of course, I'm just going to cut it so it boils quicker. Put it down in the water to, of course, boil. Yay! So, also the vegetables have been sauteed, and I put them down in that well there in the center again, and I am just mixing in the vegetables with the meat, the minced meat, as they say. Now, I'm noticing that it's still really kind of runny, the mixture is, even when I'm mixing in the vegetables. So I'm going to add a little more of the coconut flour. And it's probably about 1/4 of a cup in total. With the original tablespoon and then the more now. All right, so I'm gonna get that going and nicely mixed, and I'll show you. I'm gonna put it in a cast iron skillet, pop it in the oven at 400 for about 15 minutes or so, and it's gonna be amazing. You're gonna love it. All right, so here is the final picture of the meatballs. So I just move them around, and of course a little bit of the fat drippings come out of the sides, so I just separate that from the meatball. And of course, I just spread out some of the cauliflower and place the meatballs on top. It is easy, it is delicious, it is nutritious. So, from my family to yours, from my cave to your home, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Barbie and the Caveman, and I'll see you later. Bye!